everyone, and welcome to the CXO Roundtable. So, a warm welcome and thank you for making your time for the session. What we intend to do over here is talk about what are the things that we have seen in the recent past and what are the changes we have adopted to make ourselves again go back to the normal, or rather, I would say the new normal as we see it. Obviously, business had been in a position where we had to stop and halt for a certain kind of time. But again, we are coming back with the advancement of technology. And we want to see and hear from you what are the steps that you have adopted, you have taken to ensure the continuity of business. So, once again, warm welcome. And I put it forward to Anmol, who would conduct the session from now on. Over to you, Anmol.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rajat. I know this is a virtual meeting, but we can still give Rajat a round of applause. So let's hear it for him. Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome each one of you to the CEO Talk Coimbatore. This is an initiative by the Talk. CEO Talk is a platform that helps sharing ideas and insights to transform organizations and create a better and transparent forum for meaningful business relationships and partnerships. This event is brought to you by Tata Business Services. It's the country's leading enabler of connectivity and communication solutions for businesses. With services ranging from connectivity, collaboration, cloud, security, IoT, and marketing solutions, Tata Business Services offers the largest portfolio of ICT services for businesses in India. I now invite Mr. Kalidas KS. He's the VP SME Operations South Region, Tata Services, to deliver the welcome address. Kalidas, I believe you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Wait. Yeah. So, good afternoon to all, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy to be part of this CXO roundtable, and we feel this is the right time to connect for us to understand each one of us in the industry. So, what I would like to touch upon is that what we have seen across the industry last 6-8 months in the new norm, and what are the trends or changes we have seen in the industry or across the globe, so that it may be learning for all of us here. That's what I would like to touch upon here. As all of us know, we have seen pandemic has come as a shock to the economy. That's where it started. And government imposed lockdown and social distancing as a norm. And as it expect to be short-term haul, as the days goes, it looks to be is become a new norm. Hence, the industries and economy was finding out a new ways to come back to normal in this new norm. That's what we have seen in the across the industry. In the initial phase, there was a lot of challenges which across the industry what we have seen, especially in the SME segment, we have seen a lot of challenges initial phase. And one thing what we have seen precisely is that the way we used to do business or we used to connect the customer or we used to communicate and collaborate is really changed in the last 6-8 months. That's one new very clear changes we have seen in the market. One is that as the work from home has become norm, people way used to connect and communicate is moved to digital, and collaboration adoption is what we have seen rampant changes in the industry. And another thing, the way consumer buying behavior is really changed from face-to-face or physical buying is more to the digital buying, or online platforms really picked up in the market. That's another change we have seen. And third thing is that we, especially education sector, we have moved from physical to online, and work from home has become new norm. That's what we are very clear changes what is happened in the market. And if you go back and check this, all these changes happened by way of technology adoption or digital platform adoption or cloud platform adoption. That's a one very clear learning or very clear changes what happened in the market in the last 6-8 months. But if you see, technology was always there in the prior to COVID also. What as we very closely used to work with industries, we are seeing prior to COVID, the technology used to be an incremental to the business, not never being the part and parcel of business planning. That's where the pandemic actually accelerated the technology adoption. That's one very clear changes what happened in the last 6-8 months. And also, if you see as a country, if you see last 4-5 years, as a country, we had as a government also taken a lot of steps for digital transformation. One very clear changes were digital currency. That's what one push government used to see. And in the telecom space or connectivity space, what we have seen 2G to 3G to 4G, which was a rampant change within a span of 4-5 years, which is really changed. And 5G is expected to be next 2 years down. That's a kind of digital enablement what government has done. And government was very closely pushing on the digital economy also. And if you see that today, as a country, we are today India is the biggest market where content consumption per person content consumption which is highest across the globe, and we are the country which is having this highest number of smartphone users across globally. We surpass US of market also today. That's a kind of enablement which is available. Hence, the transformation or adoption to digital tools were very easy as compared to other countries. That's what we have seen as a country. That's a good thing to stay, and that's one good thing. And another change we have seen is that digital economy adoption growth was very fast. If you see the numbers talks about that 40% of the 40 to 50% was the growth in digital currency adoption in the last 6 months. That's the power of digital adoption happened in the economy. And in Tata TTBS, what we try to do is that we try to provide the digital platforms, a cloud platform and collaborative platform along with the connectivity. And what we have seen in telecom space is that not just a connectivity provider, telecom is trying to become a technology provider along with the connectivity. That's what telecom is revolving. That's what we see the trend in the market to be evolving across the geography. So very clear change what we have seen. Digital adoption is the one very clear. Work from home is really moved up the collaboration tool, digital collaboration tools adoption. That's the second trend we have seen. Online content consumption has really gone up, and on the buying behavior is clearly changed. These are 3-4 key changes we've seen across the businesses in the last 6-8 months. So over to Anmol to take it further to open up this forum for others to put across. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Kalidas, for setting the precedent for this discussion. Let's dive into a roundtable. The theme of today's discussion is rising to the challenge with the tech advantage. And I'm joined by a very able panel today. I have with me Mr. Rajashanmugam, the MD, Warsaw International and President TEA, Mr. Saravanasundaram, Deputy Managing Director, Root India Limited, Ms. Uma Rajan, MD, Autoplant, Ms. Swathy Rohit, CEO, Sri Ramakrishna Hospital and CEO, SchoolBasics.com, Mr. Mohamed Nassar, Director, E2E Excite, The Talk, and the Executive Director of BNI Coimbatore, Mr. Arun SK, CEO, Audi Coimbatore and Madurai. So ladies and gentlemen, firstly, thank you so much for taking time out and joining this discussion. The format of this discussion is going to be very simple. I have 5 questions and I would love to get your views on each of these questions. I humbly request all the panelists to keep your answers short and crisp so that we can maintain the time limit for each question. And it also helps us wrap up on time. With that, let's get started. My first question, which is a quick bite from everyone, a quick 90-second take. How has the pandemic affected your business? Nassar, if we can start with you.
All right. So thank you very much for Anmol. As far as my business is concerned, I have about 3-4 businesses, and the majority of the business is into corporate events and exhibitions. That's where major of our manpower and office and all of that is involved. The second major business that we do is into corporate consulting, training, and pretty much in across the country, as well as a lot of time in the Middle East. So these two will contribute close to about 60% of our revenue, apart from the other businesses that we are into. But these two things have actually had major hit, because you know that event is a big no. Like travel industry, we also very, very hugely affected. And again, we have close to about 250 to 200 exhibitions is where we do our interiors for various corporate organizations representing their product in terms of designing. That is also, of course, you know that exhibitions and event and all the venue is something is a very big no. The third and most important thing where I personally get involved is into the training and consulting business. Especially, I spend almost 15 to 20 days every month in the Middle East. That has become a standstill. Even though we tried to do something on the online and things like that, but that did not take off as expected, because you know, when the business is not happening, when the revenues are stuck. So 60 to 65% of our revenue is zero for the last 7-8 months. Of course, slowly something started coming in, but BNI, if you look at it, we've really grown very big in terms of, because BNI is one of the early adopters of tech thing. So from December itself, the BNI global team started working towards transitioning to the technology front. By Jan mid, the China, Singapore, and other part of the world were transitioned to the online format of BNI meeting. And we did not lose even I think 1 week just to have a transitioning process, but otherwise we were intact. So BNI across the country, across the globe, we are growing considerably well. So having said that, if you ask me whether the business is affected, definitely affected. The number of offices that we have had to probably forcefully cut down, and number of employees also. So one of the businesses I believe that really affected is our kind of business, like travels and tourism and venue management and event management and corporate branding, consulting, all of that. Over to Anmol.
Sure. Yeah. So absolutely. I mean, all these sectors have taken a hit. I would like to find out from Mr. Raja in terms of exports. If Raja, if you can throw more light in terms of exports, how's it been for the last 6-7 months?
Good afternoon to all. Really, this an unprecedented and unexpected sudden lockdown across the world has crippled the industry's operation together. And you know, Tirupur cluster is totally inclined towards the Western markets. So the closure of Western markets did happen the first week of March onwards. So thereby the heat has been transferred to Tirupur cluster earlier than the closure happened in India. And it was so panicky situation, because in our I mean in our produce, this is a seasonal products. So the Western markets do have multi-season in a year. So for example, a year is being divided into 10 to 12 seasons. So each season collection do have its uniqueness, invisible signature and uniqueness on its product line. So the thing is that once it got disturbed, and the seller also would be in a perplexed situation, the buyers also would be in a perplexed situation. Then I am talking about the buyer, the end buyer, the end customers, the people. So they are also in confusion, and the buyers, brands, sellers are also in confusion. We suppliers, we are also in confusion. And it was a huge economic backlash was expected, because at the time of the closure, Tirupur cluster was about to be paid to the tune of 9,500 crore from the brands, because this credit line operates 60 days or 90 days line, 120 days. So in that aspect, that a huge blockade did happen on the monetary side, and which was threatening the existence, and it was about to wipe out the industry's survival only, because if it has not been honored, that it will reflect on the down the line transactions up to the labor force. But fortunately, this industry being next to food, this industry being an essential for the mankind. So the revival also did happen swiftly. and the anticipated problems got minimized to the maximum level, and the brands also did come cooperate with the suppliers. The issues also got resolved. Wound is there, so it will take its own time to get it cured. So other than that,
Sure.
this and we wish that it should not repeat any time in any future. So that is my wish. Thank you.
Right. As much as we like to believe the second wave is not coming, let's hope for the best. Swati, you've been on the forefront of action. Of course, you run a big hospital chain. How have things been for you? And of course, School Basics, which is into the edtech space.
So, hi everybody. Good afternoon. And I think COVID-19 pandemic has massively disrupted and impacted all our lives. Truly unprecedented times, especially being on the forefront of COVID, fighting COVID, as well as I think all our healthcare warriors have done an amazing job, and I think all of us should give them a round of applause first putting their lives on the line, treating everybody, and that too with a smile, and 24-hour shifts, no complaints. And it's really surprising when we started our COVID ward in the hospital, we really thought that people wouldn't turn up for their shifts, but they were more than willing. And the truth is, they really stepped up. And truly hats off to them. Without a single complaint, they've all been away from their families for multiple months, and despite all of that. But there have been several things to point out in the healthcare industry, right? So during this COVID, people look at private healthcare, we look at public healthcare, and we really realize that there is a huge need to up our public healthcare systems to actually match standards of private healthcare. And I think government spend towards that should be increased. And I think this has really put that point precisely, and everybody's focusing on that a lot now. The government has done an impeccable job of holding the entire system together but various different disruptions. You'll think that healthcare is the 98th percentile of business, but truth is, even in healthcare, they've been there's occupancy has been in most hospitals has been at best 20 to 30% only. So people don't even come for emergency surgeries, emergency, let alone normal small procedures. So healthcare also has suffered a great deal, but in spite of that, they've soldiered on and really tried their level best, giving it their 200% to step up and actually help the public. So that's in healthcare. And again, as I said, even supply chain has been disrupted. We're not getting all the products like we used to, timely production. All of it affects healthcare ultimately. So what we see is actually, and a lot of times I wanted to also bring about this point, and a lot of people look at private healthcare institutions, and they look at the bill they get from COVID, and they're always wondering, oh my god, it costs you 50,000 rupees for 12 days. Why is the bill, right? So lots of times you think, but you should think of what is on the back end. The cost is not just in PPE equipment alone, but for every single patient, there are 4 nursing staff and 2 doctors every single shift who actually are there for the patient care. So imagine all of these people have to be housed separately away from their families. So that adds to the cost of staying. And I also want to add, like PPE, you can't wear the whole thing and expect them to be in it. And it's humanly impossible to stay in one PPE the whole day. So they have to change it multiple times. So lots of times, a lot of people come up to me and be like, why are, like private institutions charging so much when, government hospitals are giving it for free? And truth is, it's just the standard of healthcare at the end of the day, and the number of human hours. I think it's more than fair that the nurses and the doctors who take care of us get compensated for the risk they put their lives at. So I want everybody to think through, before they come up and actually, accuse the doctors and nurses who are on the front line, because they're giving 300%. And believe me, when I go into the hospital and look at them, sometimes I feel so bad because they've all lost their voices. Imagine with an N95 mask try wearing it for 2 hours continuously without taking it off. These guys are in it pretty much 14 to 16 hours a day. and try talking with one really loudly to patients and over again for over 10 to 12 hours continuously they're talking. So you should put yourselves in their shoes, and then maybe we'll really appreciate what they have done for us through this pandemic, and we'll never question them as to why and what and how. So I hope
Right.
at least if there's one message I get across through this, I hope it's just that, you know, our healthcare workers have done so much for us, and we really need to be grateful for that.
Right. I think that message was loud and clear. I think hats off to all the doctors who've been working tirelessly and making sure that all of us are healthy and safe. Arun, I think you're the only one smiling here because the auto sector has picked up. Sales are probably back, or even, in fact, even more than pre-COVID levels. How are things your end?
Yeah, thank you, Anmol, and thank you, the talk, for arranging this a wonderful evening discussing on the beautiful topic. So being positive is something bad, and being negative is something good at this point of time. Is something interesting, right? On a lighter sense. Yes, of course, the automotive industry is definitely a bad hit, especially on the luxury industry. So consumers are no walk-ins. We could not reach consumers on the print media, even in any kind of marketing events. And the second most important part is, like, as an organization, the overheads are very high, like very costlier. We can't afford to spend too much money on the overheads perspective, and the business are not happening. And substantially, the employees are getting hit, like, because salaries are higher. We need to pay on the manpower. So we have decided one thing on a special front, like we need to face the reality. We have to be very positive, and we ensure that none of our employees has been sent out, or we reduce the manpower aspect, as well as even on the salary perspective. So we believed in that. This is definitely going to take over. The main important thing is we were looking at the catapult effect. See, catapult effect is something like, it is something, see, for a car, the brake is used to drive fast. So like this COVID, we all are looking at something, a pause for us, the business to take over in a different journey. So that is something like the technology has given a huge shift in our businesses. So today, a person, customers from Nagargoil, sales consultant from Tirunelveli, and car showroom at Madurai, and CEO sitting at Coimbatore can discuss and close a sale. So that is the kind of shift which has happened in the automotive industry. And it is very, very positive in the last couple of months. It is beautifully moving towards in a positive trend. Over to Anmol.
Sure. Right. Interesting. I hope it continues that way. I think that's a sign of a recovering economy. Rajan, how has the pandemic affected your business? If you could just unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. First of all, like my colleagues have been mentioning, it's very interesting, this whole session. And as you all know, the pandemic has affected different people in different ways, especially the businesses. And I think mainly it has been not only the supply disruptions that we find, it's also the demand, the supply disruptions, the psychology of the people, the kind of scare that it has put in people. But, you know, and I know this is a little thought-provoking for all of you, but I really, really think that we as a community, both globally as well as in India, have reacted to this amazingly. I mean, in any time to, you know, we have psychological studies saying there's been depression, there's been this, there's been that. But look at the number of people who picked themselves up, restarted their businesses, done it bravely. I think our humanity, the way it's going today, it's just not a life-changing experience, it's becoming a world-changing experience. So how has my business been affected? Basically, I'm in technology, hardcore technology with automation, as you can see, Autoplant. So what we do is we use AI and machine learning to basically enable supply chains and visibility. So like any company, we have business goals, etc. And so I'm not going to say that I have not been affected. Definitely I have. I may not have met my goals 100%, but I can tell you there's been a slight manifestation of a different kind of opportunity that we found, which is that we were actually able to convince our customers, and I have customers like in Vedanta and HUL and L&T, that, and we do high visibility logistics, to automate everything digitally. So yes, so what happens is because of the automation, I'm finding that my business has grown. And I don't mean to kind of sound optimistic, but so far we've been able to convince our customers that the lesser amount of human intervention, the better it's going to be for your business and for the community. And that's really, really worked for me personally. But when I listened to Swathy, that was amazing, you know, truly, I know we all know we've been talking about doctors and nurses and everybody doing, you know, being literally gods to us. But I think you really put it in perspective when you said how they, you know, what particularly caught me in Swathy's conversation was being 14 hours under a mask and trying to shout and do stuff. I mean, when I look at all that, I'm thinking, am I doing enough in the COVID times, not just looking at my business, but constantly, how can my business bring about a betterment to humanity around? So even if I say easier logistics and visibility, it's still an advantage to me, right? Because it means more automation and technology for me and digitization. But yeah, I think we're okay. We're doing okay so far. Going forward, I'll have to just wait and see how the technology moves. Yeah.
Right, we're all in the same boat.
Yes.
Mr. Sarvana, how are things, you know, your end?
Good afternoon, Anmol. First of all, I would like to thank for giving us an opportunity to be part of this show. So post-corona, as everybody said, we also got impacted in the month of April. But one thing, if you see as a company, not only before this pandemic itself, this company is 50 years old. We have a very clear strategic roadmap, business strategy, that one of the major key strategies is the diversification. And after the post-corona, first importance we have given is to the safety of our employees and their family members, which we want to ensure first. And as things progressed month on month, we were able to adjust and see how we can grow our business in the coming months. So that's what we have done. So because of our diversification, we are not dependent on one product, on one segment or one market. So this is our key strategy, which we have been built over a period of 50 years. So that has really insulated us many times in the past during the 2008 recession, 2012 domestic recession period. But we never thought that the pandemic will be such a great impact on our lives. But in spite of that, we are being into various business fields, starting from automotive. We are also into medical, aerospace, office furnitures, electric vehicles, cleaning machines, and also castings. And we are also continuing to diversify with the new products. Because of these diversifications, and we were really happy to see that we were able to contribute to some way in this pandemic situation to save some lives. We supply a lot of critical parts for the ventilators to GE Healthcare in US. So that has really, the demand has increased multifold in the last 6 months. And we were able to put extra manpower and shifts to support this noble cause. So because of these various kinds of diversifications in various business fields, we can say that we are able to survive. And the last 3 months, most of our group companies within our group has touched close to 100% of the last year. But as on the first 7 months performance, we would be around in the range of 75 to 80% of the last year's sales. And by end of this year, if everything goes well without any much of a disturbances, we expect that we should be able to finish at least equal to the last year performance. One of the main key reasons is, as I said, it's a diversification. And always we strongly believe that there should be a share of business between the domestic and export also. So our strategy is to have 50-50, domestic 50 and export 50. But as of now, over a period of time, we are able to reach to the level of 65% from domestic and 35% from the export market. And also another key point we continue to focus is on the technology upgradation. So we continue to add new technologies, bring in new products for the different businesses, different fields, and also continue to add new manufacturing processes in our manufacturing facilities. Even in this pandemic situation, we are continuing to invest on the specialized fields, which we feel that there is a strong future in the coming years. So because of all these reasons and good support from our team and employees, we are able to sustain these difficult times. And As I said, we are around 75 to 80% of the last year average. We are in a little better position, and hopefully we'll end up with close to 100% by end of March.
Sure, I'm sure you're going to be very happy this Diwali. A quick question to all of you: do you see green shoots in the second half of this financial year? Nassar, do you think things are opening up with the new unlock rules coming in? Probably H2 is going to be much better.
So for my business, not really, because the hotels have opened up, the venues are opened up, but the number of restrictions are more. And also, people are not that very comfortable coming out for these kind of events. Even though, okay, I mean, you will not go by what I say when you see the streets of Coimbatore right now because of this Diwali shopping, a massive rush everywhere, and you see all that Opanagara street with quite a lot of textile shops are around. So you don't feel as if that you are in a pandemic. Something like pandemic has existed in this world. So you will never find something like that. But coming back to our business, I don't think, because the kind of business that we're talking about is B2B, where the corporate companies really spend more on marketing and brand building and showcasing their exhibitions and all that. That's on the one side. The other side, if you see, like, the tech-based, I mean, online platforms have become very big. I mean, some of the regrets that I would probably like to talk about right now is that in 2017, we went to our global conference. We extended 3-4 days, and we went to event technology exhibitions. And those were the days in 2017. We were told, these, you have to get into online platform, and this is how it has to be. The entire event, it was a totally different kind of experience altogether. But then, one thing which I would always like to tell about interacting with quite a lot of entrepreneurs right now here, the pandemic has actually forced us to get out of our comfort zone, actually. So if you really look at from 2017 till now, we were just, we know that we wanted to get into it, and we were planning ourselves to do it, but the planning extended for a long time, and we didn't expect this pandemic to come, So all of that, right now, we are already into that, actually. We have created an online platform, we invested heavily on that. But had it been done few months back, probably we would have been the right kind of a thing. So definitely there's going to be a lot of online thing happening, and people are very comfortable now. Like few months back, if you would ask somebody to for an appointment, for a sake, like if I have to meet a client, I have to fly in the morning to Bombay, meet somebody, come back in the evening. But today people are comfortable. You don't have to spend 10 hours to travel up and down, and just for the 50-20 minutes of meeting that you're going to have, people are okay with it. People are saying that, why don't we come online, why don't we get into Zoom and things like that. So it's become very easy right now. I think going forward, I don't see, at least post April or something, is where something will start coming in. The good news is that yesterday Pfizer has actually tested the corona vaccine, and it's about 90% okay. I mean, things are today, even CNN and BBC, everybody's talking about it will be up in a couple of months' time. So unless that comes in, people, once the vaccination is there, once there is a cure for this particular thing, then people will be very comfortable going out. That's the fear, actually. So so that is something which I want to tell you. And I also want to talk, since Swathy is here. My dad was hospitalized, and he was in Ramakrishna for about a week, but not for COVID. So I definitely, I was there literally with him most of the time, because there's only one attendant was allowed to be part of the hospital. So I was really speaking to a few of those nurses, and one of the things I really empathized with them is, they were not having the family time, and they go back home. They want to isolate themselves from themselves. They're not mixing up with the kids. Quite a lot of things which I felt very heartening to hear that. These are all the married women for months together, because we all know, like, we are parents, and how much of affections and love we miss when we come back home. The kids will be waiting for it. And that point of time, I asked him, how did you manage this? They said, no, for first 2 weeks it was very difficult for us, but later on it was okay. So I would really like to compliment Swathy for that excellent. I was there about 7-8 days. I could really sense the kind of a commitment of the entire staff nurse was putting themselves and doing so much of service for the people out there. Over to Anmol.
Right, sure. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm tempted to ask Swathy, when do you think a tentative timeline when the vaccine is going to come out? I know it's hard for anyone to say, but please give us some good news.
I think that's anybody's guess. Truth is, the transportation is ready, the containers are ready, the packaging is ready. Even temperature controlled transport is ready. Everything is ready. So they're just waiting for that last bit to get into the bottle. So I think, and to rush that won't be fair. But I'm hoping at least by summer, we can start. Summer of 2021 is honestly when I think India will probably see at least some part of the population getting or a significant part of the population getting some vaccinations. So yeah, to answer your question.
Sure. Right. Sure. Moving on to technology. A lot of you were talking about the kind of technology you've adopted, the digital transformation that's taken place. In fact, there's a joke that goes around: what has brought about the digital transformation in your business? And three options: one is of course CTO, CEO, and the third one is COVID. Right? And I think for a lot of businesses, it's been COVID that's pushed their business, to have that digital transformation. So, a question to each one of you: what kind of technology have you adopted to have the continuity in business, the typical business continuity planning? Starting with you, Swathy.
Basically, I'll answer 2 points. One is healthcare and the other is education. So for healthcare, basically, we've gone online with appointments, people are consulting online. So that's really fast tracked that process. Earlier, the doctors were hesitant, people were hesitant to call in and actually when they could walk in. But now, since that's not possible, everybody's forced to consult online, which is great. So it saves time for people. People are following timely, usually when you get to a doctor's appointment, you're made to wait. This is no wait. So if you have a 10 a.m. appointment, your appointment is at 10 a.m. So Zoom cuts you out, or the call cuts off after the prescribed time. So that's great. So at least, in this way, and the second thing is data. And I think even if COVID had hit in 2000, we would have been in really bad shape. But because we were kind of sort of already, like 1 foot in technology, 1 foot, not deciding, I think, 2020, we're better off that it hit us in 2020 and not way earlier in 2000, because we would have been totally unprepared. So data has played a big role. So people collecting data in terms and sharing, for example, a best practice that, somebody observed something worked for COVID, the best practices were shared among all the doctors really quickly in real time. And that's been, a huge game changer in how treatment options evolved for people to actually, say, okay, this patient has this, then we quadrantize, this treatment has worked in Cleveland, this treatment has worked in, so people were sharing in real time. And, that really has upped the, percentages of saving people's lives. So that's been a huge factor. And second is the online. Third is, best practices sharing. And when it comes to education, I think, we have to give ourselves credit in the world and say, even though, kids couldn't go to school, we brought the schools to home. I know the parents are not agreeing, and they're really finding it hard to keep all their children at home and can't wait to send them back to school. But truth is, the teachers have also done a commendable job. None of them were prepared to do online classes, but they really quickly, taught themselves, got up to, and to keep a child's attention even for 10 minutes online is really hard. Trust me on that. So, they've managed to actually, change how they teach, what they teach, all of that to be able to at least reach out to the children better and hold their attention spans. Also there, I think EdTech has helped a lot in terms of, how do you really get the message across to the child without having to do all the talking. So a lot of practical applications that you could use, a lot of online technology that, has been really helpful in helping kids with slight learning. See, not everybody learns the same pace, right? So now even the kids who could not understand in the first time, EdTech has actually made it easier for them to be able to catch up to the rest of the class. So
Right.
it's not just 1 hour of class and that's it. You can't, and your doubts. But this way you have time to actually understand, go back. So that's been a huge game changer in terms of getting all the children up to the same, standard of learning. And so testing has become really good. So so it's been a huge game changer in both in education. It showed us that, we didn't really have to turn up in one place for everything. And second is in healthcare as well.
Right, we're surely living in interesting times. Moving to Mr. Raja, I have two questions for you. One is, do you see exports picking up in H2? and how have you leverage technology when it comes to textiles? Yeah, Mr. Rajat, if you could unmute yourself. My question was about exports picking up in second half, and then how have you leveraged technology?
Yeah. Now, actually, after the COVID, this pandemic and the reopening of activities, a lot of new normals have stepped in, and which are welcomable in one way, because it speeds up the business transactions, which either two would have taken longer time to confirm the meeting and then going over there and coming back. All these things now been uh, I mean, have been made so simple that fix up the time and get on to the desktop or laptop, whatever it is. Then you just hang on to each other and get the job done. So this is a very advanced model of business as far as our cluster is concerned. And because the thing is that now the decisions are being taken across the board, and even if any immediate follow-up meeting is required, that also been organized in a much simpler manner. So in that way, this new normal, and particularly the gadgets what being used right now, has enhanced the ability of business transaction very much, I would say. And further to that, a lot of modern gadgets of the 3D versions and all, and even 4D, whatever it is. So those things helps this textile business in a much fashionable way, because we need not waste time on doing the fit approval and all those, doing the fit and all those things, and to get it approved. So all it's been done by using these modern gadgets very efficiently and in a very quick manner also. So this is all the advantages what we could able to see from our side. Further, actually, this pandemic has brought in a lot of opportunities for India, like countries, particularly on the textile and garmenting arena. The reason is now there happens an anti-China feeling across the globe. So this is getting translated as an opportunity to India-like countries, and we as a manufacturer need to grab those opportunities what is thrown to us. So again, this is a biggest challenging time, along with these floods of opportunities which is flowing in. So these are all need to be tapped with the support of the modern gadgets, as I told already. And this new normal is going to prevail for some more time, maybe for a year or two, because travel is not going to be immediately adapted by the buyer brands and these, as well as the exporters. So we have to live with this. And as I told, that this has brought us a lot of advantages only, and a lot of time-saving measures been witnessed.
Right.
And all these things, I wish that this new challenge also has become an eye-opener for us to get equipped in this sense. Thank you.
Sure. I think the Zoom is very convenient, especially if you live in a city like Bangalore, where I am. Typically spend 4 hours on travel to and fro. Uma, what I want to ask you is, do you think work from home is here to stay? And the fact that when we get a vaccine, we're going to go back to offices, or is it going to be like a hybrid model? Uma, if you could unmute yourself.
I'm so sorry, I keep muting myself. So, well, it's very interesting. So the well-known fact about COVID is the pandemic rapidly sent millions of people into their homes to work, right? And it also rapidly made organizations like us think, why should employees be actually coming and sitting in offices? And honestly, I've found productivity amongst my employees is much more when they're working out of home because, in a ruthless sort of way, a lot of time is spent in travel and a lot of time is spent in socially interacting in a workplace, much as you have deliverables. However, the less visible and more challenging transformation that has also occurred is the sudden requirement to digitize processes, not at your pace, but at the pace the pandemic, the corona was multiplying. Okay, so either you beat that corona or it gets you. So that is actually, I have personally had a huge head start in this, in the sense that we were already into automation, and all we had to do was, so I would say 80% of my products that were actually not getting sold started to get sold very rapidly because it is all about automation and no paperwork. Ours is a paperless, manless, automated logistics supply chain system using AI. And what I did find, however, was that the 20% of my new products that I had, we had to really step it up and bring it out into the market really quickly. And the productivity of my organization went up because of that, because they were all sitting at home. And I guess they all get tired of talking to their parents. I have very young staff. They're all below 30, most of them not married. They must be like, why are we stuck at home? Let us just go talk to, do our work. So yes, it's actually been very good. But to answer all your questions, I think this is here to stay. We will see the impact of all this, I think personally, for another 2 years. I don't think you're going to get away from it. I don't think the magic wand of the vaccine, like Swathy said, will come, and like others have been saying, by 2021. However, that does not preclude from a lot of other changes that are going to take over in people's behavior and work habits.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Arun, I do see that beautiful car behind you. Did you ever imagine that in 2020 people could buy it with just a click of a button going online?
It's absolutely it's unimaginable. Obviously, Audi's tagline, you can see advancement through technology, like Vorsprung durch Technik. So the technology is one of the core DNA of Audi, like so almost 110 years. And 2019, we are completely moved into 3 core principles called digitalization, urbanization, and sustainability. So digitalization started like 2019, starting January. So my entire company operations has started moving into digitalized. So the technology advancement is far, far superior in our company. Like with the click of a button, you can buy a car. Now, how this is very important is like in current situation, embracing technology is no longer an option. It is a necessity. It has become a necessity. So we moved from a world called phygital. Phygital is like instead of touch and feel, we are moving into our digital experience like virtual reality and augmented reality. So for an example, like we have already launched 3 models in India virtually. And we have almost a new segment called the used car businesses has substantially increased in this COVID time because the Audi, the car business has become an essential commodity because people don't have the normal commuting aspects of the public transports. And they feel safer to travel in the cars better than that. Even the 2-wheeler segment has moved. The market share has been substantially increasing because people started buying vehicles for their normal life. So in that condition, the used car business is booming like anything. And also, we have conducted more than 7 events in last 5 months, and which has given a great result. An average 3 to 4 cars has been sold on virtual. So people get to see the car on virtually. We show them, we give the prices, negotiate, and do business. Apart from that, we have done a social customer engagement activity. Like we have done a creative art workshop for customers' family. Like they were participating, almost 110 people participated on the creative workshop. We have done a culinary contest in the virtual aspect, how to engage consumers on the virtual. Then another important aspect is like we have a software system where customers sitting at home, they can view the car where it is available. Like the car is in this washing bay or in the delivery bay. What is the current bill invoice? And that is how the Audi Connect. So consumer have an ability, or they have a facility to see the current scenario or current what has been done to his car. And the last point I would like to say is there is an Audi club members where get so much connect in the online platform. They can shop around and they can contribute even to the social aspects through the online website, through our application. So this is something very, very important in current transformation in the business. The most important thing is this technology has decreased our cost of business doing operations. See, normally we spend around 42 lakh rupees every year for the training purposes. My technician has to travel to Pune, he sit there, he spend 4 or 5 days, again he have to travel back, cost, and also the money, huge money is involved on the training perspective. Now it is completely been reduced. The Zoom or the Google platform has given a wonderful area where it can connect it. And that one person can travel to our location, give a hands-on experience necessity. Instead of traveling, our entire team goes to that particular location. So one is like necessity has been reduced, the cost has been reduced, and also people are more comfortable sitting at home and doing certain works. My CRM team sits at home and work. So they were able to connect to customers and to get engaged into this brand in a successful way. So the current challenge is like business needs this technology is very important. I think for especially in the automobile business, we are very successfully handling the situation with the advancement in technology. Over to Anmol.
And I love some of the initiatives you mentioned. Despite the fact that it's all virtual, you've still gone out, reached to the customer, and made him feel that we are still in this together. So beautiful initiatives. And I think necessity is the mother of invention. So in fact, you actually brought down the cost of your operations as well. Interesting. Mr. Saravana, I would like to ask you the fact that, you spoke about diversification of businesses. You spoke about employee safety. What kind of telecommunication tools did you use for collaboration? I'm sure everyone would be working from home. How did you make sure that that collaboration happens and there is no miscommunication, and then you're still performing as a team?
Being a manufacturing company, we are not having that kind of luxury to work everyone from home. So probably during the initial stages, because of the restrictions in the manpower to be employed in the organization, so we started working on a rotational basis, like 50% strength, then it moved to the 100% strength. All our marketing team, they were working from home. So basically, we were started using all kind of platforms, particularly like Zoom or other things. Mainly for all our internal meetings, we have a planned corporate office in different locations. We used to travel for various meetings. Now all the meetings, internal meetings, are 100% happening through the virtual meeting. Though we are within 15 kilometers radius or 20 kilometers radius from the corporate office, we started practicing this as a standard practice. All our internal meetings are mostly happening through a virtual meeting, unless it is very, very essential. And all our customer meetings, either within India or overseas in Europe or US, we are having a virtual meeting with all our customers. And also, which are all very much essential for our business continuity, like system audits. All our system audits are being held through the virtual audits now. Even the customer audits, system audits, regulatory audits, compliance audits, everything is happening virtually. Initially, we never thought this will happen, but now this became a normal practice, and without any disturbance to our business, everything is happening smoothly, and also the efficiency has improved.
Sure. In fact, I would like to bring in Mr. Kalidas here as well. What are the opportunities that you see, and how can Tata Tele Business Services probably help SMEs and businesses with all their collaboration and connectivity, opportunities?
Yeah, what we have seen in the current situation as one is the communication abilities, what this market is really look for, collaboration tools, and due to the work from home and the social distancing now. And second thing is what, as the work from home is opened up, one challenge we have seen in the market, security threats across the network. This is another issue what we have seen in the market across the geographies. And third issue is that deployment ability in the faster phase. That's the third issues of any kind of digital tools. These are three, as this unexpected, it is, and as business wants to move back and continuity have to happen. The deployment challenges what we have seen in the market, and in Tata Tele, what we are able to quickly get back and offer in the market is that connectivity was there. And one good thing is that our entire team, irrespective of lockdown, we are able to keep the network up and running. I think team has done a great job to keep the network, because that's become a backbone for the entire industry to up and running, that we are able to meet up. And secondly, we are able to bring a lot of security tools back to the industry to help this mitigate the security requirements. And third thing is that the work from home has become part and parcel of the situation. We are able to uh, um, legislation to amend as the current. That's why earlier, if you see, if you want to get a customer or your office to take you to home, you have a lot of legislation documentation required. We are able to really work with it, legislation, and get this really amended. And the work from home tools, we are able to support the industries to carry the traffic from where used to be into a office back to their employee homes. So we are able to provide work from home tools in terms of connectivity or in terms of reachability to the consumer. So in nutshell, we are able to provide connectivity to up and running. To get the security threat, we are able to provide a lot of security platform, then collaboration platforms, and in turn get the work from home solution to get the employees connected and get the business. This is what we try to do in the current, in the last 6 months, what we learned or what made us to help the business moving. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. I think there are a lot of opportunities going ahead, and then I'm sure that being at the frontier of the communication revolution, I think it's a win-win for everyone. Nassar, I'll come to you. What's been that one key learning for you last 6-7 months? One strategy that businesses should adopt, given that we are living in very uncertain times.
Okay, so basically, I would like to probably add up something on the work from home part of it. You were asking about it. So if I may give another 1 or 2 minutes to share about quickly in terms of whether that's going to stay for long or it's going to be hybrid or something.
Sure.
Here again, I would like to probably add up because this is another dimension that I want to bring into the discussion. I'm part of this International Coaching Federation, ICF, which is gold standard in coaching in the world. And we have a community of close to about 25,000 coaches across the globe. And ICF has initiated this coaching pro bono, like it's basically to help the community or the corporate employees who are stressed out, people are jobless, more so in the US at this point of time. And of course, India also, we've started somewhere in March. We called it as Coaches for You. It's a community, and people refer, and we coaches, we just step forward to help people. And I would like to say in the last 6 months, more than 1,000 people have actually voluntarily logged on. It is just pro bono. We don't charge them anything. So the point that I'm actually trying to drive home is that working from home is also stressful to a large extent to large people. So they've been going through so much of stress, especially more so in the IT. It's not that when you go to work, it's not just work alone. You go out, you meet people, you interact. There's a lot of thing comes into it. It's not just work alone for the whole thing. So much of stress related things are going to happen. So going forward, I feel definitely yes. I mean, the organizations like JLL in the real estate world, they've already forecasted the kind of rental saving in the country, especially in the metros, running into thousands of crores of rupees. So all that is there on the good side of it. On the other side of it, I would probably like to foresee that more of a hybrid model. Like if somebody works and 3 days or 2 days going to the office and coming back again working home, I think that kind of a model is actually good for everything. It's not just productivity alone, right? So that's what is my take on that, which I thought somebody will share at this point of time. Being a coach myself, I thought I would like to add that dimension to it. The second thing that for the question that you asked me, see, at this point of time, tomorrow is our global conference kicking off. Had it not been the pandemic, I would have been in Florida, Miami. I'm missing all of that nice point of enjoyment and entertainment at this point of time. But the fact of the matter is, global conference, usually we have about 4,000 to 5,000 people. But tomorrow, I guess we are close to about 12,000 to 13,000 people logging in. from different parts of the world, and we have a array of speakers, the best of the guys in the world, right from John Maxwell's to Seth Godin to quite a lot of people coming in different platforms, different time zones. So I think this is an opportunity there for anybody in any kind of business. Today, if you see in BNI, we call it as thank you for closed business. That is the week on week how much money members can bank. The bank members are actually banking the money, then only we report it out. So before COVID, we were talking about 28 to 29 crores of rupees every week. But right now we are almost there. Like we have the last 4 months, we are seeing the trend. The business is coming back. We are clocking about 20 to 23 crores. But the fact of the matter is that we have people from across the globe. Like every chapter meeting, when you walk in, we only used to see the members from the particular city, but today things are happening online, so we have people from across the globe. A person has got a visitor from the US, from Jaipur, from, I mean, the kind of a cross country collaboration, cross state collaboration is really becoming big time, and the opportunity is also very high. And when I say like we are clocking about 23 24 crores of business every week, our members in Coimbatore, we have about 950 members, they are getting the money, they're banking it, and whatever little small referral that they are getting, also they are going out of the way to close the deal, because that's an opportunity in front of them. So I feel, and this is happening across the globe, and there is one particular community is absolutely, the Gen Y, the millennials are absolutely comfortable with going online. They don't want to go and meet physically. I think it's actually opening up on a lot of aspect in terms of business front, in terms of online front. I feel that any company anywhere in the world can do business anywhere else in the world. So that is a big opportunity for all of us. Vote on Anmol.
Right, sure. I think you brought up some really interesting points. One, of course, the emotional well-being. And because we are all, there's no balance, so to speak, when you're working from home. You don't know it's thin line of difference in what's working and when you actually relax. Uma, I would come to you, and pretty much the same question. What's been that one key learning last 6-7 months, which has really kind of got you to think that, hey, businesses need to adapt to this, otherwise, it's going to be a lost cause?
I think most of it was answered by the person before me, Mohamed Nassar. But I would say one of the key learnings I've had is adaptability and adaptability. We've had to very rapidly adapt to the business situation, the business environment, our pricing. And when I say business, I don't just mean business, but all elements that go into it, right from pricing to customer orientation to responses to situations that could be not only difficult for the customers, but very difficult for the number of people who are working with me and for me, right? I have to see their safety. So I think it's very multifaceted. It's difficult to sum it up in, let's say, just a couple of sentences. But I think each one's journey of learning in their own respective businesses has been same in many ways, but also extremely different. Like I have earlier mentioned to you that in my business, anyway, automation was one of my main pillars of the way I do business is just completely automate everything. And so that actually worked to my advantage. But in a more philosophical sense, I would like to tell all of you that I feel one of the biggest learnings I've had is nothing is permanent. A lot of things in business that you took as stress and that you thought was so important, and you were stressing out and you were popping blood pressure pills and having multiple conversations that took up a lot of your energies, not necessary. Hey, you don't know what will hit you tomorrow. So I think and this links me back, it loops me back like a closed loop to what I said in the beginning, that as human beings, as humanity, we have responded to this pandemic in an amazing manner. And I think in every businessman today on the forum and all over, a certain amount of humility, humbleness, a certain amount of giving way, not being so ruthless in business has set in. I think so. I think somewhere in the corner for all of us, one of my learnings has been right from my colleagues and my customers that they have softened out of it a lot. They've learned that life is not about running on a treadmill, that there are other things also. Yeah.
Right. I think this pandemic has surely humbled each one of us across industry sectors.
Correct.
As you rightly said, nothing is permanent.
Really?
Going to Mr. Raj. Yeah. Going to Mr. Raja. Raja, if you could, one piece of advice if you would want to share with business owners in terms of how they can handle this crisis. I think he's on mute. Probably I'll take that question to Mr. Saravana. One piece of advice from your end.
What we would like to, it depends on every individual business, whatever they are doing. But what we would like to do is whatever we are good things we learned during this pandemic situation, we want to take it forward and continue the best practices we have been doing for the past many years. That also will continue. So it's a good learning in the last 6-7 months. Whatever the good learnings we learned, we would surely continue to carry forward in the coming years also. That's what it depends on everybody, individual's business nature. So that's what we would like to continue. So all these virtual meetings, certain things will keep continuing even though after the pandemic also. Only for essential meetings, we would like to have, because always a personal relationship is also matters in any business. So face-to-face meeting also helps. But the routine meetings and other standard meetings can happen through the virtual meetings. That's why whatever we learned in the 6 months, not only in the technology side, in the other sides also, whatever many things we learned, we want to put into our practice in the coming years also.
Sure. Arun?
Yeah, Anmol. So I would like to quote one book called Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor E. Frankl's. So in case of an adverse situation, a tough situation, people will realize, especially your success get prolonged when you have too much of options. In COVID has given only one option to excel. So we need to overcome this particular situation. So when there is no option, I think people will have human have the tendency of overcoming it. I think we are in the phase and we are going to overcome it. There are some good things which I've learned in this COVID period. One is like the most important thing is ICF coaching. There are so many people to give advices, suggestions, trainings, or there are many ways to learn, but there are very less people to listen. I think this coaching, along with Mohamed Nassar, I really thank Mohamed Nassar for introducing this particular community to help the society to listen, especially in this kind of situations, to make help to know the unconscious potential available for humans. So that is something I've learned in this particular COVID situation. And also the most important challenge that we are going to face when on the digital world, sitting at virtual meetings. When I too have a personal problem, like continuously sitting for meetings in hours, becoming a very stressed, especially on my physical fitness. Like we need to start focusing something on physical fitness, do some kind of exercises, yoga and other stuffs, which has to be much more frequent on an aspect. So these are a couple of learnings which I got in this COVID period. That's it. Over to Anmol.
I love that quote that you shared. Your success gets prolonged when you have a lot of options. I think that's when the problem of plenty kicks in. So here's a question, to wrap it up pretty much to everyone. What's been your stress buster or a hobby, or what have you been reading last in the lockdown? Nassar, are you more of a newspaper person, or are you more into, listening to TV news?
He's a bookworm.
Yeah, I know that. I'm sure you would have.
Yeah, I've been. See, one thing that I want to tell, I go by what Uma was talking about. See, for me, I think right from my college days, I've been into something or the other, whether it is to do with Interact or Road Tract or JCI or Toastmasters, and a lot of other organizations I was busy with on one side. On the other side, I was continuously into something or the other in terms of business, starting and running around. 20 days a month, I'm traveling out of India, missing the family time. This has been my life for almost 20 plus years. All of a sudden, pandemic comes in, and then you realize that in the life, you don't need such kind of a overworking, so to say, so all you need is your stomach can have only a little food, and then a decent place to sleep, and then the kind of affection that you show with your family members. this is something is really, really amazing. So I realized you don't have to really take it all. Just live life as it is, enjoy your life, and that is something which I wanted to talk about on the first front. In terms of what I've been doing, I've been reading a lot of things and quite a lot of reading. Of course, I almost read about 3 to 4 books in a week. On an average, I read two, but now it's almost 3, 4 books in a week. I'm also parallelly, I did a couple of workshops for close to about 100 plus entrepreneurs. I did one-to-one with close to about 80 to 90 of the business owners in our BNI community. I found them, not now, but this was during the May and June time when they were stressed and the lockout was there. They were really not knowing what to do. And of course, we had created a close to about 10, 15 people in the coaching community from ICF. I'm also working on a book which is called Reboot Your Business at this point of time. How do you really come up and bounce back from business? What are the things that you need to do as business owners at this point of time? The entire text is done. A lot of editing and things has to go on. So things like that is going on. And of course, I mean, my workout every single day I'm enjoying. I've created I don't go to gym and swimming pool in these days, but at least at home, I created a mini gym and trying to do workout and enjoying the life, be with the family more than anything else. If you ask who's the one person that who's really be thankful about pandemic, it will be my wife and my kids. They are so happy that I'm there with them all through these 8, 9 months time. Even now I'm at home.
It surely sounds like a perfect life. I mean, 3, 4 books a week, and then your workouts, and of course, things will only become better with business. Thank you for sharing that, Nassar. Uma, what have you been reading or watching this pandemic?
So the interesting thing is that I never used to find time to read books in the last 5, 6 years. I've been traveling like crazy. There were times that twice a week I was boarding flights and getting off, and I wouldn't know, like which bed I would be sleeping on, because that's the nature of my job, my business. But I would say that I used to be a workout person, traditional working out at gyms with weights and treadmills and ellipticals, etc. I suddenly discovered the magic of yoga, and it's been fantastic doing yoga, and that really helps in doing it. And also the other thing, I had a horrible eye problem where I had something called dry eyes, and the doctor told me I could not read books. So, and I try not to look at screens, and being in the world I'm in, that's impossible, but I did it. I tried to do it most part of the time. And I found the beauty of audiobooks, which I now find is a much better way of actually reading books. There's somebody talking to you about the book, and actually your concentration improves a hell of a lot. So now I've taken more to doing at least one audiobook in a week and a lot of yoga. So yeah, I guess that's what I've been doing.
Sure, I'm hooked on to audiobooks as well. Something that probably I started last year, and I think it's better than reading because you're very conscious of what you're listening to, and it kind of wraps up faster as well compared to reading when you're kind of lazy.
Correct.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Saravana. Are you more of watching web series? I think that's the new trend. OTT platforms are coming up with a lot of content. Is that something that you've been watching?
So like Mohamed and others said, I also used to travel a lot. Last 6 months, I have not even went out of Coimbatore. So that's a good thing. So the second part is we're able to concentrate more on my personal health. So the pandemic also created a little bit of concern on our health and safety. So started focusing on practicing yoga and other things. So I could see a big difference in my health now in the last 6-7 months. So that's the 2 major areas. And number 3 is spending a lot of time with my family now, and also watching some TV news. So that's what I'm
doing. Sure. Arun, are you someone who likes to read the news or watch the news, or ignore it completely?
So I'm in a different genre. Like the best thing is I got time to enjoy with my grandson and granddaughter. So that is something very special for me during this COVID. And really I love cooking. So I was able to give some kind of support to my wife, preparing new recipes for her. And I think these are something too differently, because I always love, cooking, culinary is like yoga. Whenever I get frustrated, I go and start doing something. And it's a really nice experience. I think during this COVID, I started getting to do these two things, and it's definitely a different transformation in my life for past 46 years. Yeah. Over to
You did say the word grandson, right? Did I hear that right? Grandson?
I have a grandson and a granddaughter. Yeah.
Okay, I just thought you were 35. I don't know if it's me or everyone else on the panel as well. So it's a follow-up question. What is the secret of not aging?
No, it's not not that 35 or something. This is again a technological advancement. I think your digital screen and all is showing me like that. I'm 46 years old now. Yeah. I'm 46
Great.
years.
Sounds sure. But yes, you do not look beyond 35. I would love to meet you offline, and then we can take this discussion forward.
Yes.
So, Mr. Raja, if you're around, if you could share your key, your hobbies, what you've been doing during the pandemic. I'm not sure if you're around. All right, I'll move to Kalidas. Kalidas, tell us what's been your stress buster, something that you've been, preoccupied with during the pandemic.
You see, I used to be basically a workaholic person, which I used to spend at least 12 hours of 13 hours in office. And one good thing which I'm really able to take it in the current is that at least take out a step back and look at your own getting your fitment story right. This is what I am really able to do last 6-8 months, which had never been my priority in my across the when I am working from office and all. This is one very clear focus. I am able to really spend back some time on your fitment. That's what which I am able to do. Second thing is I am really able to spend a lot of time with my family and kids, which is never expected. So I think that's the two things which I am really able to do in this current situation.
Great. I think all of those stories, children are the happiest, and of course, spouses are getting the attention that they always deserve.
But is it sustainable long term? Amol, one challenge I see is that is it sustainable for long time? I see there is a psychological issues are started across the industry. This is what we are seeing when we talk to the people. Holding it to home and working throughout it looks to be challenging because it's a psychological issue, because we as a human we would like to have warmthness. That's where we see a challenge across the industry. We are seeing this. One thing what we are seeing is that it's Mohamed told it looks to be we'll see the way forward is to be a hybrid model of working, getting roster system for employees to come back to office in a scheduled time and work along with the peers and work together and go back. This is one thing which we see, because that's where this psychological, you want to release on the way your environment to be have. And other change what we are seeing in the moment is that when we talk to industry people is that the office space which used to be centralized in 1 or 2 cities getting decentralized. This is one change we see right now in the market which looks to be happening. And second thing, your work from home is moving to smaller setup near to your employees' workplace or residential area. These are third changes we see in the industries happening to get people to come in specific time to work together, get the human to human touch, get the peers to peer interaction, and get the warmness. This is what we see when we talk to industries. Looks to be happening in the way forward. Yeah.
Right. Sure. Let's see how this really unfolds. But for sure, we're living in very uncertain times, and I think it really helps for us to just be more in touch with ourselves, and the answers will come. With that, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. It was indeed a very insightful discussion. We hope we will be doing this offline very soon. Probably next year. Would love to meet each one of you in person and carry this discussion forward. So thank you so much for joining in, and I will see you all soon.